It's a quaint village on the shores of James Bay, a place you can buy fresh fish, enjoy music, feed the seals, and a place where a small community of people call home. And I don't know about you, but I've always wondered, what is it like to live on a float home?
It was like going home to the cottage every day. But in downtown Victoria,
Meet Mary Hughes. 20 years ago, she met up with an old flame, fell in love, sold her Toronto home, and moved into a float house in Fisherman's Wharf. Sounds like all the ingredients for a great book, doesn't it?
and living in a very charming little house. So it was a wonderful, wonderful time.
Mary's book truly celebrates the unique way of life on a float home, and it's the little things that make for such great stories. Like, how do you move a piano onto a house that's on water?
Well, think about it. You know, you come to the dockhead, if it's low tide, the ramp's like that. They're not moving a piano down. It weighs 600 pounds, you know, and then putting it on the house. Well, the whole house went this way and we had to move the furniture around.
And the cast of characters in her book include everyone, from the Victoria Harbour Authority to her intriguing neighbors.
People who all tended to be a little on the maverick side, I have to say. I mean, you know, what Alan says is all the nuts roll to the west, but, you know, yeah, a sense of independence, a sense of probably not conforming.
Eventually, Alan and Mary decided it was time to move, but they just couldn't give up their home. So they pulled up anchor and set sail for Saltspring Island.
Yeah.
It was so weird when we first came here, coming into the house when it was still up on cribs, 11 feet in the air, and looking out and there were trees. Trees? Where'd the masts go?
Yes, this float home is now perched on land on Saltspring. And while they do miss life on the water, there's one thing they don't miss.
The hardest part, I guess, ultimately was the fact that we were a tourist destination and the fact that you really couldn't go out and sit on your deck and read a book without having 24 people stop by and go, "Oh, you're reading." You know, "Do you live here all year round?" It just kind of got to you after a few years.
Another bonus about being on dry land: more room. They have stairs rather than a ladder, and of course, a basement. But what they loved about the float home was its simplicity. So they've kept everything else pretty much the same.
So it's maybe 1,100 square feet now. Wow. But how many, as our friend Steve would say on the dock, you know, how many chairs can you sit in at once?
It's absolutely true. I have always wanted to know what it's really like to live on a float home. And now that I've read the book, I have to tell you, it's fascinating. A great read. From Saltspring Island, I'm Karen Elgersma for The Daily.